All right, welcome to another episode of NFL Outdated Cover 2 series. This episode, we are talking about the New Orleans Saints, and I am joined by Rob and Britt, the angry sports couple on Twitter. How are you doing?
How you doing?
We're great. How are you tonight?
Doing well. I mean, you guys, it says angry sports couple, but you guys aren't all that angry.
It's off season right now, so we get to August and yeah.
So yeah, and there's still a lot kind of going on off season, always with the NFL, and I guess I'd like to take a step back and talk a little bit about kind of your thoughts. Obviously when it happened, and maybe even now when Sean Payton decided to retire. What were your thoughts kind of when that happened?
Well, I mean, it seems like that's almost like there's been so much free agency news. It's been the craziest free agency period ever. Like it's that story's like it seems like it happened 2 years ago.
It does,
yeah. I mean, a huge disappointment. I mean, he did so much for the city and
the team. It was a complete shock.
Yeah,
I think for most Saints fans. I mean, we didn't know that was coming. I mean,
it's like anytime Rappaport or somebody like that would tweet out something, BS. It's not happening. And
yeah, and I mean, he did so much. I mean, what he did here, he got us a Super Bowl. I mean,
and right after Katrina, and just, I mean, everybody's heard the story, and it's like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a good movie. Not the Netflix movie.
I was gonna say, so it was interesting how it did happen. That week the home team came out, and I don't know if you had a chance to see, but I did get a chance to interview Chris Titone, who wrote the movie and home team, and it was kind of interesting to kind of hear his take on making the movie with Sean Payton and everything, and because now obviously he's been dating Sean Payton's daughter, so.
Yeah, I think they're engaged now.
Oh, I didn't hear that, I guess.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know. I think that is true, but I don't know.
Yeah. And so go ahead.
Yeah, we haven't seen the movie, but I mean, for us, it's more about what he did, bringing the team back, from Katrina and bringing Drew Brees here also, and what all
we
that.
were long suffering before Katrina too.
Yeah.
So it's not like things were good beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all grew up just, we had a couple of good teams. We had Dome Patrol, but then we didn't have an offense to back them up.
Mm-hmm.
We had the 91 team, which that was our first NFC West title, which that was awesome, but then nothing again. The Hazlitt team with Aaron Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was Jeff Blake, and then Aaron Brooks in the playoffs. But
surprised the Rams that year.
Consistency good where we could really trust that we've got something here, and I mean, you want to talk about bringing a city together. That was that Super Bowl night. That was everybody's just hugging and crying, and it's amazing.
Well, even going to the Super Bowl, I mean, it was really not a thought, I think, nationally. What I remember that the Saints were going to win. Obviously, it was Peyton Manning kind of coming home, facing the team that his dad had played against, and I mean that was just obviously Sean Payton, had that iconic play, the onside kick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coming up after time.
Yeah. The 2-point conversion to Lance Moore.
Yeah.
So
he did so many things here. I mean, we love him. He probably will coach the Cowboys one day, but we're thankful that we had him for the time.
Yeah, we'll love him until then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. If and when that happens. But yeah, I mean. Sean Payton did a lot for the city, a lot for the Saints. Did he start to kind of wear on fans and maybe players the last couple of years, or?
I don't
think so.
I mean, was it it was, if anything, it was a symptom of his own problem. Like he set that bar, so we expected that from him, all the time, but. Whenever we get down to it, is okay. Would you rather Sean Payton or this guy? Okay, well we're sticking with Sean then.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that's what with the he was a problem with his own success. That's what he suffered from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you have, I mean, that was he was labeled the offensive, guru, genius, all that stuff, and having Drew Brees definitely helped out with that as well. And
Yeah.
Drew Brees, definitely when he left, I'm sure that was kind of hard, but he was starting to kind of decline the last couple of years as well.
Yeah,
Sure.
the writing was on the wall there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this had to be the most interesting year for the Saints last year, though. I mean, not having him there, and then just I believe it was a record number of players that they used then for the season, right?
It was, yeah. It was a comedy of errors with the injuries. It was just constantly, something. And COVID didn't help.
Right.
Yeah. We started Ian Book.
Yeah, that's how bad things got.
And that was on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, that was it was a mess. I mean, and kind of going into the season, obviously being displaced for what was it, 30 days. I mean, that had to be hard on the team. But then, and I actually I'm a Bears fan, but I do live in Wisconsin, so I hear it all the time. Back and forth. So that first game when Jameis Winston just came and just, I mean, demolished the Packers. I mean, at that time when you were thinking, did the season expectations kind of change for you guys and thinking, hey, maybe we have something here?
I was shocked. I was just more surprised. One, at how well we were doing, because I honestly didn't expect that going into the season. And two, how bad the Packers looked in that game.
They really did.
I mean, obviously they turned around and had a good season, but I did not see that coming. That game.
I mean, a lot of it too. The Saints, just a solid defense. I mean, all over. But then having Jameis, perform the way he did, and obviously it was hard for him to get injured, and so kind of what were your thoughts then? Kind of going into this offseason then, and then now that you're welcoming him back. I mean, are you excited to have Jameis Winston, or is there another quarterback that you'd rather have? Or
well, absolutely. I wanted Russell Wilson. I thought he'd be a perfect fit here. I'm sure everybody says that. Who doesn't want Russell Wilson?
Yeah, right.
There's only 4 teams that would say no.
Right. But I mean, we're probably very different from most people. We're not wild about Jameis. I mean, I guess he's better than a lot of the other options.
Yeah, well, the free agency option. I mean, he was the best of the worst. That we could have gotten.
At least he didn't get Carson Wentz, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Wentz, Mariota. I would take Jameis over Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, but I don't think either of us. We're not big on.
We're not
big on Jameis. Yeah.
What about him?
I don't.
It's the same. It's almost this. It's not the same as Deshaun Watson. I know we'll probably get there at some point, but there's a little bit of those character issues that I think some people just like to forget about.
Or short memory.
Short memory, whatever it is. But
and even now, he kind of comes off like a jackass sometimes.
He does, yeah.
I mean, he's got a great arm.
Yeah.
He won games for us. He did well.
So did Teddy Bridgewater, though.
Great point.
Yeah. That is a good point.
But I mean, we don't. With the defense, we should have everybody being healthy. We don't need a ton from them. I mean, of course, I'm going to hope that he does well because I want the Saints to win. But I don't know if I'm a Saints fan, not a Jameis fan.
And yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily the long-term answer, right?
No, absolutely not. I hope not.
Obviously, the season could have been different too. I mean, had he not gone down for injury, the Saints would probably be in the playoffs, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
The thing with him is without that defense, I don't know if he could put the team on his shoulders and take it all the way. Now, could he do enough with that defense just playing on all cylinders like they were? Absolutely. You can depend on him to get you a couple of touchdowns and everything else. He did work on the turnovers. Blame Lasik or whatever it was. We don't need him to do much as long as the defense keeps it up.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I mean, you kind of look at the quarterbacks now, and most of them are in the AFC that are gonna be able to
Sure.
put the team on their back, and I
Mhm.
really think Kansas City is going to struggle this year without Tyreek Hill. I mean, obviously Mahomes is great, but you have to have someone to throw to, and that was another issue too with the Saints. You don't really have anybody to throw to this year.
No. Last year.
Last year. Yeah.
I mean, Marquez Callaway was the guy.
Yeah. And Traquan Smith was supposed to be the guy. Obviously, he was re-signed, but you're not really excited about him, right?
No, we haven't been for years. Yeah, and we're big fantasy people. So I mean, when we first, Traquan his rookie year, we're like, oh yeah, we got somebody that's gonna. He's going to benefit from Mike Thomas getting all the attention, and then he's just got stone hands, and he's, expectations just kept dropping year after year for him, and he just doesn't produce.
Whatever he does this year will be, better than what we expect.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, kind of, thinking about that, then, Michael Thomas is going to be coming back, right? And what are you going to expect from him, this year?
Better earn that money.
Absolutely.
And I saw something on the radio. They had Dennis Allen just went out to California, visit him. That's where he's at. Mike Thomas is rehabbing. They're saying it was because he was showing concern for an injured player. It was not to mend fences. Okay,
right.
that was a olive branch offering. But no, I mean, if he's motivated, he should be awesome. It should be really good.
It'll be interesting.
Jameis can't feed the ball to him.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Obviously, you never know how a player's going to be coming off an injury and all that. And but yeah, I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the league. At least he was, before he got injured.
Yeah, but it feels like we haven't seen him at 100% in 3 years.
That's a great point too. Yeah.
But yeah, when he's healthy, he's top receiver in the league.
Yeah.
And it'll be great for Jameis to have that, to rely on, which he didn't have last year at all. And look how well he did last year. So, I mean, I see us. We go to the playoffs this year, I think.
I mean, we got 4 wins easy with the Falcons and Panthers. So
that really
we only need about 6 more.
and really against the Tom Brady too, right? I mean, it's something about against the Bucks.
Yeah, we
sooner or later that's going to come back around.
Right? It may. You never know. But division-wise, I mean, they're right there. So speaking of mending fences, what were your thoughts when the team was flirting with Deshaun Watson and now then missing out on him?
Well, it was a whole discussion, and that we had, between the two of us. Can we really get behind Deshaun Watson as our quarterback? That would be so tough. To cheer for him, to want.
You can't sit on the couch and be like, "Come on, Deshaun!" Yeah.
Yeah, with all
But then we'd also bring up the Jameis thing.
Right.
Like, I mean, Jameis and Deshaun, obviously, different issues, nothing the same, but kind of rooted in the same problem. So, do you just take the better one then? Just because one happened more recent.
Right. I mean, Deshaun Watson's better than Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Right.
But he also has a bigger problem. So, I'm glad that he's not a Saint.
It would just be a headache. Yeah, I'm glad we don't have to deal with the headache of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I had a chance to interview a Browns writer the Saturday, after it happened, and just saying people are getting rid of season tickets, and I did get a chance to talk to the Nola girl, and she was saying that also some of the bloggers and for the Saints and even a lot of the season ticket holders were thinking of they would have gotten rid of their tickets if Deshaun had gone to the Saints as well.
I mean, just a PR nightmare. I mean, I mean, come on. Some things are bigger than football, or at least maybe they should have just waited till everything was settled out one way or the other.
It blows my mind, and obviously, I follow a lawyer and fantasy football guy on Twitter, and he's kind of giving some updates and stuff. But it blows my mind, and I guess I don't know how all that works, but they continue to like push it, further out and whatnot, and now he's done his deposition and all that, and it's so interesting how it gets pushed out, and now obviously Roger Goodell came out today and said that he still may face discipline. We don't know, but he probably won't miss the whole season.
Well, we were looking it up. I think when Jameis had to settle out with the Uber driver, I think it was 3 games or something like that.
Yeah, so that was
ridiculous. That's all that was.
And that's interesting too, because so he had that, but then even in college he had the issues with the
Florida State,
the stolen crab legs or whatever, and part of it too. I mean, look at Jameis, like immense talent, but just some of his antics are just really awkward, kind of eating the W and
yes. Goodness,
who is this guy? Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, the pregame workout stuff. I'm sure it's given to him by some trainer, but he's like an enigma. Like, what is going on here with him?
Yeah.
And I guess, as long as his teammates like him and follow him, I mean, that's what you need from a quarterback. So even though it's, public, it looks kind of odd. I mean, if they're following him and he's getting the job done, I guess that's a good thing.
And the thing with this Saints team too, he doesn't have to be the team leader. And like on the team, I think the main team leaders are coincidentally on the defensive side of the ball, which has been what's been producing. It's Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, and Malcolm Jenkins.
Yes.
Those are the leaders on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Alvin Kamara, of course, but Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. It just if I hear these guys speak, I'm pumped up about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll run through a brick wall for Demario Davis.
Yeah, I will too.
Yeah, I mean, the defense has been solid. I mean, do you see some pieces that you would like them to add in the draft? Any specific positions or any players that you kind of maybe see in mock drafts?
Wide receiver.
Yeah.
We like Chris Olave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would fit in really well here.
Make use of Jameis, what Jameis has, and just tell Chris to run straight, and Jameis, you throw a bomb at him.
I think that'd be a good pick. I mean, tackles.
Charles Cross. Yeah.
From Mississippi State.
Bring him in, move Ramczyk over to left tackle, and let Cross start it right.
Mm-hmm. You could probably get him in the second round as well, right? I mean, I haven't looked at,
Oh, hopefully. I mean, I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
a quarterback.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Future quarterback that can sit for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to bring it up yet.
And next year's class is so deep.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the wide receivers, it's interesting kind of with all these teams kind of doing their moves, the Chiefs trading Tyreek Hill and all that, and the Packers needing wide receivers, but it's a deep class, but you could really get a run on these receivers in the draft. And I know people are kind of talking about Malik Willis kind of, going further up, and you don't see the Saints picking him, do you?
No,
I don't. I think after signing Jameis, I think
we're going to try and make a run here.
We're win now. I think
we're not going to pull a Green Bay and try and draft a quarterback in the first round right now.
Probably better. And also, I wasn't going to bring it up quite yet, but we can do it now. Today's bombshell free agent news. The Red Rocket is coming to New Orleans. Andy Dalton signed with the Saints. How about that?
Okay. At first, I got that notification today, and I was just like, "Am I reading this right? Does that say Saints?" But after some thought, it's like, well, I like it.
We look at. I think it's only $3 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. We have a reliable backup now that now allows Taysom to go and do Taysom things. Yes. We don't have to worry about him getting hurt. Mm-hmm. We can put the period at the end of that sentence with Taysom being a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Just let him be a weapon.
Mm-hmm. That's smart.
What he does best.
Yeah. Let him go be a great athlete.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kind of, he had the experiment with him trying to be quarterback. He does a lot of great things, but it- just maybe not the guy. And then obviously he had the experiment with Ian Book, and that is probably done as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that was like Sean Payton hubris there.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, he always has that quarterback project. Whether it's
which is not a bad
or-
thing. I would say that's kind of what the Bears have done wrong in the past. They haven't had that good project. They've just neglected it, and obviously that's why their general manager and coach part of the reason they were gone. And but in Chicago, Andy Dalton didn't really get a fair shake necessarily. Obviously, they came in and they told him he was going to be the starter, and then they drafted Justin Fields, and this will be good. I mean, he really is solid veteran backup at this point in his career. And, that was the problem in Chicago, that just he was told he was going to be the starter. And now, obviously, with roles defined, I think he can do well with the Saints if they need him.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's, he's probably one of the best backups in the league.
Yeah, and again, for $3 million guaranteed, what you going to ask for? That's great. Good safety blanket.
Well, speaking of safety blanket, the Saints did go ahead and sign, obviously have Mark Ingram back. That's going to be helpful because we don't really know yet. Or, I mean, what have you heard the latest on the Alvin Kamara stuff?
It's hush hush. There's no news. I mean, it really is. It's other than the court date being pushed back.
Postponed,
I think it's April 25th. So
okay.
Maybe we'll hear something then. But yeah, as far as, I mean, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people think if suspension happens, it'll be like, they'll say 4 games and then it'll appeal and then it goes to 2 and that'll be that. I mean, but I think, depending on what they do with free agency still, there's still some running backs out there that might, shed a little light on what they think might happen. I mean, I wouldn't mind us signing like somebody like Darrell Williams from Kansas City.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Sony,
Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
So
I love Mark Ingram. We love Mark Ingram in New Orleans, but it's he's great. But if that happens, we need somebody else. We have Tony Jones, but
somebody to lighten the load on Ingram, so when he is out there, he can run angry.
Yeah, because they kind of gave Tony Jones a little bit of a tryout, or try there at the end of the season. But I mean, he didn't do as well, or
he looked good in the he built a nice little name for him in those preseason games, and
he deserves a shot. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At least
I feel safer with a Darrell Williams or a Marlon Mack than Tony Jones, especially if Kamara's out for 4 games or whatever it's going to be.
And at least you don't have to have like a Ty Montgomery kind of situation where he was trying to be the running back. That was kind of a mess, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the problem is he's such a nice guy. Like when he would interview around here, like you want to root for him, and then he's on the field doing things, and you're just go back in the silence and do another interview. You don't need to be out there.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's going somewhere though.
Did he?
Yeah, somebody got him.
Yeah.
Did it?
I saw that.
I'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's bounced around quite a bit, but yeah, I mean, there obviously is a difference in the NFL between a great guy and can he actually be a great player? Because I went to the 2019 Bears training camp, and Mitchell Trubisky, fantastic guy, stayed long, signing autographs. Obviously, flamed out in Chicago. We'll see what he is in Pittsburgh. But I mean, they may be good guys, but maybe they're just not the right answer at the position. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people they don't have it when it's time to do it.
Yeah, and sometimes the most talented ones are the worst people. Like some of the things going on in the news right now.
Absolutely. Well, you talked about Dennis Allen going kind of to mend fences possibly. What are your kind of expectations for him as the head coach? Obviously, he's been fantastic with the defense. Is he going to be able to kind of be that head coach and kind of let go of the defense a little bit, or is he still going to try to hold on to the reins of the defense?
I hope he keeps control of the defense. I mean, that's because that's what's worked. And you can tell by some of the pieces he's brought in that he's going to, he's brought like Marcus May, Sorensen, like these versatile guys. Yeah, and we have CJ Gardner-Johnson. These DBs, kind of almost like linebacker-ish, where you can just shift them around, do all kinds of stuff with them. I hope he brings back Quan Alexander. I think he hasn't been re-signed yet. That's a big piece.
Yeah. I like him. I think things are going to be different than it was with Peyton. Just
he's more no nonsense guy, than Sean Payton. Well, sure, yeah.
But I think he has, I think he'll be successful here. Again, I think we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
it helps that Pete Carmichael's still here.
Yes.
Do you think kind of overall as a team then, having a defensive coach now as a head coach that will kind of hurt the offense in overall, team chemistry and expectation? Or
I think the identity's been shifting that way anyway. I mean, ever when the Breeze decline started, and some of these defensive guys started coming on, Dennis Allen's defense was taking hold. We were already shifting to more of we can lean on the defense more. We don't have to worry about putting in record-breaking numbers all the time. So I think maybe this is just the next progression of it. Of okay, we're more defense, and now we're finally just admitting it. I mean, the more talented players in our team are on the defense. So you should be a defense-focused team.
And it's interesting too, because I think it's a copycat league. You try to everybody wants to have that quarterback that's going to be the star and everything, but you kind of have to go with the personnel that you have, and with the way they've drafted. I mean, they've drafted well on defense, I believe, and and the players that they have there. I mean, you kind of have to just.
Davenport's finally coming around. I mean, he's something.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, kind of when you look at this team, I mean, what are your kind of obviously this is prior to the draft, so we don't know who's going to be coming in and stuff. I mean, are you expecting them to kind of be in the playoffs? And maybe if they take a step back, would that be disappointing, or what are your thoughts on the upcoming season?
I'm glad we're not in the AFC.
Right.
I mean, I think being in our division should help.
And look at us last year. We're one game away. Game away. The Ian Book game away. So, I mean, this year going in, hopefully Jameis is healthy. We'll have Mike Thomas back. Hopefully we have Kamara. So, I mean, I think we're going in,
the pieces are there to make a run.
And it's almost like you're not necessarily the Saints aren't really expected to kind of be there, but that's when maybe teams can do they can do their best.
Oh, the pressure's off.
And obviously Jameis is he's going to be ready for the season. He's going to have something to prove as well. He's whether you like his personality or not. I mean, his talent.
The guy's a competitor and an athlete. Sure.
Yeah. So, when you kind of look at, obviously this season, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, kind of, how you guys became Saints fans, and then how you got decided on the Angry Sports Couple Twitter name. Talk a little bit about that for us.
How we became Saints fans? Well, we were born and bred into it. Him more than me. My family was more of a LSU.
Right.
She's a North Louisiana girl. I'm a New Orleans born and bred, but my family had season tickets since the first season, Tulane Stadium. So I grew up in the Superdome. I wore a bag on my head when I was a little kid. I lived through Bobby Hebert, Dome Patrol, Jim Everett, and all the rest of them. So I took the suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and I grew up a Saints fan as well, just a little more on the LSU side, but I'm all in now. As far as how we got started on Twitter, we're fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
Fans, we love it. We've played for years and just talked amongst ourselves, and none of our friends love it as much as we do. So it kind of got to a thing where we need to talk to more people that have this passion.
And we go on there, we research for players and stuff in like our friend leagues, and we're like, oh, look at all these people that are on there talking. We should get on there too. And we thought it'd be fun because when we're both at work, we can that's something we can share together. Bouncing back and forth with each other on the same Twitter account.
Absolutely. And do you what platforms do you use? And do you do Dynasty at all or?
Oh, absolutely.
We do everything.
Yes.
I think
we're in about 35.
We're in about 35 leagues right now without redrafts going right now. Yeah.
I'm in about 10, and I thought that was a lot.
It is. It is.
It is a lot. Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
It's a lot to keep up with. Yeah. And we got Dynasty, Superflex.
We do some triple flex leagues.
Yeah, IDP, Titan Premium. Yeah.
And we also do charity tournaments.
Yeah.
Oh, you do.
When the season gets going, we do redraft charity tournaments. We'll make them all best ball this year, so it's not so much, having to
keep up with
and set lineups. But we really want to have a bigger, group in our charity tournaments coming up this year because it's
every year we get about 5 or 6 of them together, and we raise a good bit of money for either for like local charities in someone's area that they're playing for.
Yeah.
We'll always do a couple for the Scott Fish Bowl. They make donation to Fantasy Cares, which is for Toys for Tots and everything, and it's adding gambling and with just something like a charitable aspect to it, just to give back, and because who doesn't like playing for fun and giving money to little kids for Christmas toys.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great cause. And when you can do it with fantasy football, I mean, it's that's not, obviously, Twitter can get a bad rap sometimes for being kind of negative, right? But
it should.
It should, yeah. But I think, when used right, I think there are a lot of positives about Twitter, connecting fantasy football and obviously podcasters. And there's just a lot of, good. And obviously, it sounds like you guys have really taken that the next step as well with, your charity groups.
I mean, sometimes maybe we're just using it as an excuse to not feel bad about joining more leagues, but it's still for a good cause. So
yeah.
So
you said you're doing some startups. What are you kind of planning? Do you use ESPN or Sleeper, or what do you use?
Sleeper.
We use Sleeper. Sleeper. It's easy. It's on your phone. It's it's just the format is so easy, and
especially for dynasty leagues. I mean, because I guess we switched to Sleeper about
3 years ago.
Maybe 4 years. It was miles ahead of what Yahoo was doing with Dynasty. So we and it's easier to keep everything on one app. So we try and keep everything on Sleeper. Yeah.
So
I wish NFL had a better mobile app. We would probably try and use it more. But
NFL is terrible.
Pain to use. Yeah.
So what I tend to do at the start of every season, and I have done videos the last couple of years. I do a video of me drafting each of the leagues and all that, and it's just NFL is the most clunky for even the free agents in waiver wire. It's just which is so interesting, how clunky it is, and then it I think maybe even the first week it went down, but Sleeper is one that I like, especially for Dynasty as well.
And for the mobile app for it is great.
And do you guys compete against
reliable,
do you guys compete against each other then, or do you have the same?
We compete.
We compete against each other. Yeah, that's like 90% of the leagues we're in. We're against each other. We co-own a couple of them. Those are rough when we're drafting.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah,
that's a lot when that angry comes out.
That's when the angry comes
out.
Is it
okay? Yeah.
Deontay Johnson or Chris Godwin. She hates quit trying to make me draft Mike Evans and
So,
Yeah.
you know, and
We're in
I don't want I don't want to cause strife here, but who's won more?
Ooh, let's see. Last year, I had a better year.
Yeah, last year you had a better year. The year before
he had a better year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we're not trying to be nice to each other either. That's really how it happened.
That's the truth.
I had a lot of second place finishes, and she killed it last year.
I tell you, that would be a great podcast. I'm just saying that. When you guys are going back and forth in fantasy, so
we're thinking about it. Yeah.
Yes. We're in a dynasty startup right now on Sleeper. With some friends, and we have rookies included in that startup, so it's very interesting.
Yeah. I think Breece Hall was the first rookie off the board. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So it's interesting. I'm trying to do a startup. I haven't quite gotten it started yet on Sleeper. But you know, last year I did my first dynasty with Sleeper and I loved it. And actually I inherited one Sleeper team, so I've got that one now as well. That's a free one, but then I'm trying to do another one, and I was kind of wondering about, you know, starting it up and waiting till the rookies until they're all drafted, right? You know, if that's a good thing or bad thing, because then you know if it's going to be a good fit or you know what offense they're going to be in. And so you guys don't wait then.
So some leagues we will, some leagues we won't, because we're joining, you know, probably 15 redrafts this year. Sure, yeah. So it's fun just to space them out and see
what happens now versus what happens then.
Which one's which, and how much it changes up the draft board.
So, you know, when you're drafting, I mean, so I'm a Bears fan. I've said that. And the last few years, I've kind of stayed away from the Bears offense just because I'm honest about my team and I know where they're at. You know, I had friends that were like, oh, I'm going to, you know, and these were even in redraft ones that were drafting Justin Fields. I'm like, nah, not in that offense, not in Nagy's offense. I knew it wasn't. Right. And then also, you know, with Andy Dalton there. So I didn't draft him. I stayed away. Do you both, you know, stay away from Saints players or are there some that you maybe compete in the draft to get? Or
I think when we were only doing like 2 or 3 leagues, like when we first started playing fantasy football, we maybe only did 2 or 3 leagues with, like, you know, college friends. I would stay away from Falcons and Panthers players
for the longest
because I didn't want to cheer for Julio Jones scoring a touchdown.
Yeah,
but I mean, then it gets to the point where that's just too much to keep up with now. You
had
Julio Jones like the second year we were playing fantasy football.
No, it was Roddy White.
It was Roddy White.
Oh yeah,
and it's me and her and your brother, and we're all just sitting and the Falcons are beating the Saints. Roddy White just scored a touchdown. And this one pops off the couch.
And I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? We had won the game, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's just all about value. If the most valuable player on there is a Saints player, I'll get him.
I actually probably don't have as many. I just actually drafted Kamara in this startup we're in the I think the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have him in the one that I inherited, and it's just kind of, you know, like, you know, obviously he's talented there. And I was trying to trade him because we still don't know, you know, how much he's going to be out. But, you know, I wasn't getting very much value for him. So I'm just like, I'm just going to hold on to him. And I also have Jameis, by the way. So, yeah. So
for fantasy, I mean, he's puts up numbers. He did good that 30 for 30 season.
He did.
As far as fantasy goes.
Well, and so this league, it's a 2 tight end league, the one that I inherited, and the only quarterbacks I had on the roster, I have some fantastic tight ends, you know, and so my tight ends are set.
You have a premium on there, or just?
Yes, I believe so. I can pull it up, but you know, as I'm kind of doing that, so. The only 2 quarterbacks I had on the roster, and I inherited this maybe a month or so ago. The only 2 quarterbacks I have are Jameis Winston and Deshaun Watson. So, yeah.
Oh, that's some fun team names you can make for that thing.
right. But I have some, you know, solid. So I've got Hawkinson, I've got Mark Andrews,
nice.
For tight ends. I also have, who else do I have on the bench? I guess I've got Harrison Bryant, but so I've got some solid, I've got Higbee as well. So I've got some solid tight ends, but I was kind of thinking, I'm like, I just don't know. And I do have Jarvis Landry, so that'll be interesting to see kind of where he goes and everything too.
I love
this is the biggest Jarvis Landry
I'm
fan.
his biggest fan. Jarvis, if you're out there.
But that's the problem is like, he's going to ask for too much money, right?
Yeah, seems like it. I mean, I wish we could get him here. Oh my gosh, he would just be perfect here. But it doesn't seem like it's working out. I guess he
How
was.
is it Green Bay just throwing a suitcase of money at him right now?
Problem with Green Bay, and I'm not just saying this as a Bears fan, but they kind of they're like the in a relationship standard here. They're like the girl or the guy that thinks they're prettier or better looking than they are, right? You've got Aaron Rodgers, right? Nobody really wants to play in cold weather. I mean, Aaron Rodgers says people want to go play with him, right? Well, I don't know if they really do with his antics, and it takes him a long time to trust someone, right? And honestly, I think looking at the Browns situation, from what I've heard as well from a Browns writer, a lot of the stuff with Odell Beckham in Cleveland was on Baker, and I'm sure when you have a kind of a quarterback that's kind of have an edge and attitude, hard to kind of get along with. Rodgers might be similar, and so it's interesting.
Money talks, though.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Like they. I mean, you paid Rodgers that money. You got him for 2 years. You're supposed to go win now. What they have around him ain't going to do it.
No, and so like on talk radio, they're like, oh yeah, this will be great. Maybe we can sign a free agent, and then we'll draft a couple wide receivers, and we'll be right there. So a lot of the Packer podcasters and Packer fans are, in my opinion, delusional to think that Devontae Adams is not going to have a huge effect. Plus, they weren't able to do it, with him, and they lost Zendarius Smith. So, it's going to be interesting that way. Receivers do matter. Obviously, quarterbacks are important too, but so it's interesting. I think sometimes when you have like a flagship franchise, it's one of the old franchises, you kind of assume, oh yeah, everyone will want to come play here, and the Packers kind of fans think, oh yeah, everyone wants to come here. No, not really. So it'll be interesting. I guess that's kind of my analogy. So
how do people in Wisconsin feel about Aaron Rodgers? Like, what's the? Because everybody's so
He's a weird
guy.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll just say this. My buddies here that are big Packer fans, they think he's a drama queen and all these other things. But as soon as, especially being last year, they're like, oh, we don't need him. We don't need him. As soon as he got back in, well, see, we love him, so if he's winning, they're going to keep him. Right. And they're going to love him, so winning is,
he's really good. I mean, you can't, he is,
but a regular season quarterback,
yeah, sure. Yeah.
When you look at it, I mean, he really only to get the Super Bowl, he beat Caleb Haney, the Bears, and he did beat Ben Roethlisberger in the Super Bowl. But that's really, when you look at it in the playoffs, he hasn't done that. And kind of getting back to the Saints, it'll be interesting. We haven't really seen Jameis hasn't been in the playoffs, I don't believe, right?
No.
Did he go?
Did he go with Tampa one year?
Yeah, I'm not sure. If he did, it wasn't memorable. If he did,
yeah. I mean, so when you look at, I mean, are you worried about, because obviously you give the benefit of the doubt to a quarterback once they've done it before, because the Chiefs were struggling this past year, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to come back, they're going to do it, because they've been there before. I mean, having Jameis, maybe. Obviously, he won the national championship, right? But I mean, in the NFL, I mean, are you worried as Saints fans that maybe he won't be able to kind of I don't know, win a playoff game or kind of perform on the big stage?
Well, yes, I am absolutely. That
Yeah,
may just be me.
No, but
Yeah.
The point of what the team is, he should. I'm nervous in the regular season if he's the one expected to shoulder the load. I mean, you're a Bears fan. Rex Grossman went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, but you don't win the Super Bowl with it. I mean, I'm not comparing this Saints defense to that amazing Bears defense, but a good defense can carry you if needed.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I mean, I think if they stay healthy, yes, it's possible. If a bunch of injuries start happening, no, I'm worried that I don't think he can put the team on his back.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, I think when you look at it, I wouldn't be as worried in the NFC, right? The AFC has all these quarterbacks that I really think the Bills are going to break through this year, if not the year after. The NFC is a little bit murky. Obviously, you have the Rams, but after a Super Bowl, teams maybe aren't as hungry. I'm sure you kind of maybe saw that after the Saints won the Super Bowl, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
that was a rough season. Yeah.
I mean, not to bring up old wounds there, but I mean, when you win a Super Bowl, it makes a difference. And so the Rams, they're going to be solid again, right? Especially with Allen Robinson going there. But I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily trust. Obviously, this is weird to say. I don't necessarily trust Tom Brady this year with what he's going to have, right? If Gronk doesn't come back, that really made a difference in their offense without Gronk when he was injured.
I mean, you still have Godwin, you still have Evans. They signed Russell Gage. They got Fournette back. There's a lot around them. They need to do some DB work. On the other side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Levante David's not getting any younger.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's interesting. Obviously, Antonio Brown, he came on and obviously when Godwin got hurt and everything, and Godwin coming back, that'll be big. And I mean, do you kind of assume the Bucs are going to at least take the division then?
It's hard not to. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a realist. I mean, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I think we'll be nipping at their heels. But I mean, I think both the Bucs and the Saints, they'll sweep the Falcons, they'll sweep the Panthers. It'll be between us. And since every time we sweep them in the regular season, we lose to them in the playoffs, I'm okay with us splitting with them.
Yeah.
In the regular season, and then
we'll
see what happens in the playoffs. I mean, no matter what two teams they are, it's tough to beat somebody 3 times in one season in the league.
Absolutely is. I would agree. Well, this has been fun, talking to you guys about the Saints and fantasy football. Definitely want to connect with you again. Where can everyone find you again?
You can find us on Twitter at @him_her sports. And we'll hit you up when we start doing our charity leagues. You can come play one of our ridiculous ones with IDPs and everything else in it.
Yeah.
So I did have a chance. We did on our podcast, several months ago. I had a chance to interview an IDP guy. Actually, he's from Australia. So we did that with the time difference, and he was kind of trying to an IDP 101, and for me, because I've never done IDP, so I would be willing to try it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's really not that hard to try. I mean, the main thing is tackles. Look who's getting the tackles, and but it's something fun to where when you're if you're in red zone, you care about defensive plays now. If somebody gets a pick 6, that's a big deal for your team then.
Yeah, it's fun, and people are intimidated by
anything new. Yeah, it still hasn't hit mainstream yet.
It's
but
easy.
It's fun. Yeah.
Just pick up a good linebacker and put him there. Go for Devin White.
Yeah.
Oh, smart. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I was looking online. I don't think there are a lot of websites that do. I think the IDP guys. I don't know if you guys go with them, but they, there aren't really a lot of, there's not a lot of writing about IDP.
I know it needs to be more. It needs to be more of a prominent thing in fantasy football. I mean, it's a great way to really feel like you're playing both sides. So you're more into actual football.
Some good guys on Twitter to hit up for IDP at Hollywood IDP and at 50 Shades of Drunk. That's Jordan Rains.
Oh, nice.
Jordan's actually the one that came up with the default scoring settings on Sleeper for IDP.
He is. Okay.
They use the scoring system, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
which it's the fairest way to go to use that scoring set's really good for it.
So you say that's 50 Shades of Drunk?
Yeah.
I'm finding it right now. Finding him right now. Oh, perfect. Oh yeah, I'm following right now.
And Hollywood IDP. I'm not sure that's exactly how it is, but if you search like on Twitter Hollywood IDP, he'll come up there. Yeah.
I think Titan may be in there.
Hollywood Titan.
He's a Titan.
Okay.
He's a Titan fan. Yeah.
Definitely gonna have to look that up. Well, it has been fun talking to you guys. I'm a little bit surprised you weren't really all that angry.
No, interview us in September, and we'll give you a good show.
Definitely gonna do that. We have to get that scheduled. So I appreciate it. Definitely gonna connect again. So once again, it's been NFL Outdated Cover 2 series on the New Orleans Saints. Thanks again, Rob and Britt.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.